I appreciate like Matt's ability to recognize his failures, right? That great scene with Frank, when Frank gets him riled up and he like punches him and then immediately he's like, I'm sorry. Like he is struggling so hard. And I love that about this character. But one of my frustrations with the show is like, yeah, I wish you would just like get in the suit already. Be born again, my guy. Welcome back to the break room. Everybody sing it with me, but start it at different times and really do it off key. We built this city on rock and roll. That's right, it's the after show. Hit that graphic again. After show. Oh, born again.
Pistis Radis.
That's right.
No, clip that.
That's right, we're back today to discuss episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again, Sic Semper Systema. Of course, I'm Brandon Barrick, and joining me today, every time she stops moving, she hears her little cat. She sees him, and she hears his voice. He always says, "Give me more food, mommy. Every single last can. Give them to me." It's Jessica Clemons. Don't cry, Jessica. It's okay.
I'm crying, Erik. I don't know what's saying the Latvian.
Latvia, not Latveria.
Latvian. Also joining us today, he was working on the episode 4 breakdown until 4:30, maybe even 5, and he had some tequila, and in the spirit of honesty, there was probably some ketamine, but he's here now. It's Erik Voss.
Hey guys, look, I don't deserve having this job. I messed up. I'm not afraid to admit it, but I can promise you I won't make that mistake again. Next time, I'll only do ketamine. I'm not gonna mix it with that weak shit tequila.
No.
That weak shit tequila.
No. We've got to talk about how fast BB Urick wrote that article in the morning while still drunk.
She's that professional, dude.
She is master of her craft.
Do you think she was fake drinking?
A piece of me thought about that. I was like, I could see it, but also I could just see her being like, I can hold mine. You can't hold yours.
And every time she went to the bathroom to, do a line or whatever, she was doing a line of the article on her phone.
Oh, well done.
She was typing.
If you were to scroll down on that article, it starts getting very confused, like Homer writing the $12. Get out of here. No, she is like Marion from Raiders of the Lost Ark. She can just put them back.
Oh, okay.
She is a good journalist.
She is a good
journalists know how to keep up with their subjects.
Hey,
true.
you got
It's
it.
true.
You got to chase them.
That's right.
Well, between Skrulls, Fiddle Faddle, and Frank Castle, what the heck was going on in this episode? Will Angela ever become the White Tiger? And when will Muse come out to play? We'll get into all that and more as we go through the show today. And of course, we want to remind you to check out nerdriot.shop, where we have our Justice and Punishment shirt, as well as our The Monster design, which also comes on mugs and t-shirts. We also have our Long Live the King shirt if you want to celebrate your love of Wilson Fisk. What a great guy, fixing up the city, huh? Never done anything wrong. Who cares if every now and then an ex-lover gets locked in a cage? As long as the city gets fixed.
Not my mare.
What's up, guys? We were having so much fun on the break room that I forgot to remind everyone that next Tuesday, both Daredevil episodes 5 and 6 will be playing. So when you watch the after show next week, we're going to be talking about both episodes 5 and 6. Erik and Jessica will be reacting to both episodes 5 and 6 the previous night. So make sure you watch both episodes before you watch the break room, or, you can hang out, do whatever you want. I just want to let you know that 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again are coming out next week. Take it back, guys.
All right, before we get to our questions, let's do a quick recap of the episode. After a heartbreaking scene with Hector's niece, Angela, Matt gets a new case, clearing Leroy Bradford's name, and despite trying to blame the shoplifting of Fiddle Faddle and caramel corn on a Skrull, Matt is able to get him a short stay in jail. But Leroy ain't happy. He's been stuck in the prison industrial complex before, and all it does is continue to put people down with unrealistic timelines, a very real world issue in an episode that will kind of go all over the place. Elsewhere, Fisk finds himself caught in a different type of red tape. Remodeling Red Hook on his timeline won't really be possible, and the gangs are still fighting. After Daniel leaks the story to BB and apologizes, Fisk makes it clear he's more about loyalty than anything else, but also tells Daniel he won't hesitate to end him if he messes up again. Matt's investigation on the identity of Hector's killer leads him to Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, who's been in hiding. The casing for the bullet that killed Hector had the Punisher logo etched or printed onto it. Somehow, Matt could feel it. Frank blames it on the fanboy cops and gives this incredibly intense scene between the two men where Frank asks if Matt is asking him permission to re-embrace the Daredevil and maybe even kill somebody. And if he's really happy with what happened to Bullseye after Foggy was murdered. That's right, he called him Bullseye. You'll love to see it. The episode closes with Matt and Wilson flirting with the people they used to be. Matt revealing his mask room and training on the roof, while Wilson in the wine cellar eats dinner in front of Adam, Vanessa's lover, who's locked up in a cell. And we finally get our first substantial look at Muse, who's been painting with blood. Lots of blood.
Are you sure it's blood? Maybe it's just like, something.
Sorry, who's been painting with cranberry juice. Lots of cranberry juice.
I don't think he's that bad of a guy.
You have got to stop loving the villains, Jessica. Let's get into our questions that we have for this episode, especially like a lot of the discussion that we've had this series around like the creative overhaul they had to do between what the original vision of the series was and then Dario Scartapin coming in and making some changes, adding episodes, all that. You two, Erik and Jessica, you had a great reaction last night up on the New Rockstars channel, if you haven't seen it already. And you guys talked about how this episode feels like the clearest example of that kind of retooling, right? Perhaps like some of these storylines on their own had kind of fit better together. It was kind of tonally all over the place, right? Like these moments in this episode kind of made it feel like a little whiplashy, like we're going from one thing to another to another. And I don't know if they all fit together very well. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, we were very, very hard on this episode.
Were we?
I think harder than we generally are.
Well, that was a fresh, you just finished it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And here's the deal. I think a lot of people are now coming at us like, you guys are new about the reshoots that happened, so that forced you to look at this episode through the lens of looking for the seams. And I just want to make it very clear, we went into last night's episode with a lot of optimism coming out of, we were heartbroken by episode 3, but we don't go into watching these shows like looking for problems and looking for things to nitpick. But what we do have, what I like to think is a pretty like fair-minded, open-mindedness watching these episodes. And when there are, we're not looking at a quilt looking for the seams or the stitching, but we are looking at the quilt like, wait, why does the patch we're on just feel so unexplained and unjustified by everything that came before it? And so what I'm really interested to look at is like, when we get to a scene where we know this episode's going to be about Wilson Fisk's struggle to be mayor, to go through the proper systems. This episode's called Sic Semper Systema, right? That's what the episode is about. We're going into an episode where we know a general mayor of a big city often has to go into middle school and elementary school classrooms where they're singing. What is not normal is for that song to be a 1985 rock ballad. And what is not normal is for him to go to a Latvian Heritage Day celebration where they're singing that same song in Latvian. And it's not normal for that big swing creative choice to not go addressed at all in the episode. And then that stuff is so distracting to us that we are forced to kind of wonder, wait, were scenes removed or were lines of dialogue repurposed? That's what we're saying. It feels comedic. Like Wilson Fisk's Act 2 storyline from talking with Sheila about like the red tape, and that back and forth felt like it happened in Costello routine. When we had back-to-back, we built this, it felt comedic. And we don't understand like that's not how we're used to seeing Wilson Fisk in kind of a bumbling mayor storyline. Yeah. So that just felt at odds with this scene with Frank Castle, which is a beautiful scene. And it is so well written and so well performed. That just feels like at odds. And we've just seen it too many times on the show where there are interstitial shots of New York City that were just like, that are used as clear bumpers between this and that. So it's not like we're looking for the stitching. If you like this episode, it's all good for you, great. But just understand, like, if you have to allow the conversation for people who maybe didn't like an episode of something as much as you did. And if you are someone who didn't like an episode, you really have to allow the conversation for people who did. And that's what I'm going to do for you. Like, if you love this episode, great. Like, I loved a lot of this episode. But you cannot deny that even if you cannot see all the editing choices in there, there were still like emotional shifts that this episode took that seemed at odds with what we know about the character and at odds with how the first 3 episodes of this season have conditioned us to watch each episode of this season.
I agree.
I mean, you made a great comment just on the reaction about like that scene where they're talking about redeveloping Red Hook and Fisk is dealing with Sheila and being like, what if I do this? And she's like, nope. And he's like, what if I do this? Nope. And it's like, it is like a weird, I don't know, it had a weird kind of like patter to it.
I think he's an idiot, but he's also not like a comedic idiot.
Yeah,
like,
he also redeveloped.
I just think it's a dumb, and that's the thing. if I'm saying dumb, I'm not trying to say like I'm not trying to punch down on the
right.
writing. I'm just saying it like it. I think Erik spoke to it a bit, but like the emotional roller coaster we're kind of put on makes me less emotionally tied to some of these characters, and it's because we don't really follow through with how their motivations are from the first episode to now, and they're still the same people. So I'm confused at like just the direction it went in.
Totally.
Also, I mean, hey, look, I don't remember how I was feeling directly after this episode. I don't know what I said that maybe was horrible, but I do think, okay, I was like, but it is like, it tonally did feel like a lot of different things going on.
Yeah.
And in the way that they played some characters, I was like, I don't know if it's that I lost emotion for this character or I just like lost faith in them, like because I was structured to believe in something else at the beginning.
That's fair.
But that scene with Frank, and that was the thing with the Punisher and Daredevil was so good that it did feel like it was just thrown into it because I was like, oh, okay. And again, I'm not gonna get on the case of like how he got there, but I'm like, oh.
I mean, we can talk about that real fast because I was kind of like, well, I guess he knew where Frank Castle was the whole like. Maybe Matt's been keeping tabs on Frank Castle. Yeah. Evan said he smelled his way there. I don't know if that's possible.
Wait, I thought you were just joking.
And like he found his way down there. I don't know. I mean, I assume he knew where Frank Castle. He's always kept tabs on Frank Castle.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Also, he knows this
like
guy's a little crazy. I don't know if crazy is the right word, but willing to kill people, which is against Matt's code.
I've now watched this episode multiple times, and I rewatched that sequence again and again, and I cannot tell you if we are meant to assume that Frank Castle is in hiding, or if this is just a place where he's set up an agreement with whoever the landlord is of this building. Like, I don't think he was hiding from Matt. I think that's like, because he passed a sign, this is like the Knickerbocker housing structure, which is in kind of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. It's like a housing structure. People live there, you know, like it's not an abandoned tenement or by any means. And it's like the office that's on the utility floor, you know? So like he's been staying there with guns. Like, I don't know if it's like he's hiding from the cops.
Right.
Because that's a horrible place to be hiding if you're from the cops. You have everything down there, every weapon, everything you're weirdly doing. So it's like,
hey, Red, did you see the sign up front? I call this place Frank's Castle.
Frank's Castle.
And Matt passes these security cameras, but are we meant to believe that the security cameras are pointed another way? It just was not clear.
And that's the
from the scene's logic.
And that's the question is like, is it annoying to have to assume these things?
Yeah.
Wouldn't I rather want to know what's actually the case? I don't know if that would have deterred me from like what they were doing with the story, but I'm like, I just don't know. And I don't think they're gonna show us how Frank's been living there, or why he's been living there, or if he's hiding, or if he's renting.
Yeah, and again, like this has not soured me on the season. No. I'm having a blast watching this show. Like I'm still riding the high of the show, and it's still doing enough things right that like I'm enjoying this. This is not me. You just have to understand that. It's a TV series. Some episodes are just not going to hit as hard. Right. And that's okay. That's okay. And in the same way that like we're covering Severance here on the Breakroom and New Rockstars as well. And like I've loved every episode of Severance this season, but I understand not everyone liked the Salt's Neck episode following Harmony Cobell. And I wanted to give some room to the people who felt that way. It's okay to not like every chapter, every part of the meal that you're getting, while still appreciating the journey. And that's just where we're at this week. You know, it's okay. Not episodes. It's hard to make TV. We respect the artists who work on the show. It's hard.
If anything, I thought this episode was funny as hell.
Yeah.
Which I commented. Skrulls?
Yeah.
Why'd you put that line in? That line had me cracking up. If you watch my reaction, I'm literally stunned. I'm gobsmacked by him yelling, Skrull?
Yeah, I really appreciated the Leroy storyline in that it kind of showed... One thing I like about Matt Murdock is how fallible he is as both a lawyer and as a hero, right? Like, he makes mistakes, and he's kind of like... I took that whole sequence where he goes to the kind of DA to work on a deal for Leroy, and he's like flirting with her and being very like Matt Murdock, horny as hell, right? And he comes back like, hey, I'm the man, I got you knocked down. He's like, that's not what I asked for. He's like, you're my lawyer, you're not even doing what I'm asking you to do. And Matt's seeing past him, for lack of a better word, and not like seeing the man he is. And when he actually sits down and listens to him, he's like, you know what, you're right, I'm doing a bad job. And I appreciate like Matt's ability to recognize his failures, right? Even when he's that great scene with Frank, when he kind of punches, when Frank gets him riled up and he like punches him, and then immediately he's like, I'm sorry. Like he is struggling so hard, and I love that about this character. But one of my frustrations with the show is like, yeah, I wish you would just like get in the suit already. Be born again, my guy.
Be born.
We want
He
to
is
see you in
born
the suit,
again.
but I think we're getting there. One of the quirky things about the break room is that we love food, but it can be tough to eat well when you don't have the time to cook. Unless you use Factor. Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating deliciously and eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. For instance, if you're trying to lose weight, you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. I had the veggie tomato risotto a few nights ago, and it was really good. Molto bene. Just the perfect level of tomatoey bite with the risotto to sponge it up. It was so good, and it was ready in 2 minutes. That's impulse speed. You have the impulse to eat, you got the speed to eat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Tell them I sent you. Do we feel like this is a lot more of these episodes are going to feel this way, or maybe this was just this episode? And as the season gets further along, though, we won't really see where the reshoots came in, maybe till the end, right? When some characters show back up.
I think we're fine. You know, I think there will be other moments where if you really look hard, you might see that awkward transition, that awkward editing. But overall, I think it was bound to happen at some point this season, and they've already been doing this. They've been doing it in every episode that we've seen so far, and it has not felt as whiplashy. It was, I think, really what happened was, and even Charlie Cox, I believe John Bernthal, the director of this episode, said that this scene, even with Charlie Cox and John Bernthal, was going to be later in the season. And they felt like, we wanted to bring that earlier. And we know that Frank is coming back later in the season. So I think they're even admitting, like, it wasn't always intended to be in this episode. I think it makes the episode better. It's just like TV. Episodic storytelling is always going to feel a little clunky sometimes. And sometimes they are able to pull it off with a bit of finesse, sometimes less finesse, but ultimately, like, the moments themselves redeem the rest of the episode, in my opinion. But I think this episode is exactly the sum of its parts and not more than the sum of its parts. And that's okay. That doesn't sour me for the rest of the season. And I think from setting up Muse, from setting up Matt's relationship with Frank Castle, from setting up everything that's falling apart with Mayor Fisk's reign, I'm very much looking forward to what's coming next. The only thing I'm not confident about is Daniel Blake, Michael Gandolfini. I think that is one subplot on the show that I just think the actor was miscast for the role.
Yeah.
I think the actor is fine. I just don't see this character as like a tech social media guy. Like we haven't seen, other than him just using buzzwords of like people who it seems artificial. He doesn't seem to be an actual tech guy.
We talked about it in our reaction. It feels like he is put in there just to be that mirror to Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
To be like, this is my younger.
Fisk.
They'll be like, you know what? I made mistakes just like this, and no one helped me, so I'm gonna help him. But it also, I'm like, I don't really know if I needed that character to even do this.
Yeah, and you have like real world analogs that you could have pulled from. Like, look, I got on our subreddit talking about how we shouldn't always compare Wilson Fisk on this show to Donald Trump, that they are not exactly the same person. Right. There are some parallels, though. And like people like Trump have within their orbit different types. You have people who are like keyboard warriors working for these politicians, but you also have like guys who aren't afraid to throw a punch at these like events. Yeah. And I feel like if you're gonna have Daniel Blake as like a parallel to a young Wilson Fisk, he would have been like a physical force at these events. He'd punch a protester and drag a protester out of a room, or he'd like push a media, a nerdy blogger. He'd shove him out of the room and be like, "I did it for you, boss." Like that would have been, I think, a more right role for Michael Gann. And I'm not just saying that
might
James
be coming still too, right?
Yeah.
It might be kind of like the fall of Daniel Blake, where it's like he does resort to violence at some point. Yeah. Sheila admonishes him for it, but Kingpin's like, no, that's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah, I think you would have, maybe not Bibi Urich as she is on the show, but you'd have someone like her who's very tech savvy and social media savvy, who would be in Fisk's orbit fighting those fights on the social media front, who was like, you're trending really, like, we saw this on the Succession show that Kendall Roy was always plugged in to social media. And I just don't feel like Michael Gandolfini, as he's played this character and as this character has been written, has really proven that to me that he is that smart, that he's actually that plugged in. I feel like the people who wrote that character are not really actually on Twitter or Instagram.
Interesting. I'm waiting for Daniel Blake to be like, hey, boss, look, I made I made a meme of you. You look like Shrek, and you say, get out of my city instead of get out of my swamp. You ever seen that Shrek movie, boss? I think, like the dialogue in the Frank Castle Matt scene is so great, and they talk over each other, something Evan loves, right? Evan loved when, like, Karen and Matt, like, talked over each other. They do that in that scene. It feels very real. Yeah. The opening sequence at the club, that dialogue did not feel real at all, right? That didn't feel like natural dialogue for young people who
how are they not getting bumped into? And how are they able to talk to each other at an appropriate level?
Those are the tonal weirdness for me. And you guys said it too in your reaction. Like something like Penguin felt like full episodes and each episode had its own arc and like felt really complete. Something the MCU has constantly struggled with in its series and its television shows is each episode does not feel like a full episode of television. It feels like 1/6 of a movie. And when you see it as a whole, it all works. But when you're like, well, I have to wait a week for the next part, like, and I felt left wanting more from this episode. It's like, I think they're still struggling to make those full episodes of television that feel like a full episode of television.
I felt that the first 3, though, did do that.
Yeah.
This is only the first time watching this show where it did not feel...
Right.
It felt like a couple different episodes that they were able to find kind of a thematic through line with just not trusting systems. But my issue with that is that, like, the gripes that Angela Del Toro has with the system are not the same thing as what Leroy Bradford is saying about the system or what Wilson Fisk is saying about the system. You can't just say, like, systems equal bad is, like, the same thematic argument.
Yeah.
Like, The Wire did a very good job of this, where there was a particular argument they were making about the systems in Baltimore that were failing people. And it wasn't just saying, like, if you try to stay within the law, that doesn't work for you. That just feels like a very bad episode of The Walking Dead in, like, season 8. That, like, they would say, like, everyone's talking about, everyone's just using the word system, so that makes it, like, thematically connected. Look, they did the best that they could, and I'm impressed that they were able to get this good of an episode out of it if this is what they had to deliver on. They had to deliver on Angela Del Toro getting the white tiger mask and amulet. They had to have Wilson Fisk do this. They had to have Matt do this. They couldn't just scrap the Leroy Bradford stuff because there were some really good thematic statements made there. They had to spin the plates for all these different characters, and they were able to pull it off, I think, mostly. It just, the sum of its parts.
I was surprised the DODC didn't capture the amulet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd
like,
think they would have detained that.
Sure, you think, like, they're like, it's not magical enough. Or, like, I assume that maybe the amulet doesn't work for everybody, right? Like, you have to have the right spirit or something. Like, the amulet chooses its host or something like that. And maybe the DODC checked it out and someone put it on and it's like, nah, I don't feel any tiger stuff. Put it back.
That's what the one guy at the DODC does.
Yeah.
He puts on the bangs and he goes, he said, put that in back. Put that in back. That goes back over there.
He gets like, Doctor Strange's cape. He's like,
choking the shit out of him.
Give it to Brian. He tests all the stuff that comes in.
Get it off me. Get it off. Shoot it.
He puts on the amulet. He doesn't feel anything. He goes, next time, baby.
He puts it in his pocket.
Next time,
baby. It's for some reason it's how he came back. He's clean. He's sober. He's not drinking anymore.
Yeah. Brian, how was work today? Oh, I had to put on the amulet and it choked me so bad. Evan, do you have any super chats we should address?
Yeah, lots of super chats, lots of questions. You mentioned the Penguin, and we're talking about Michael Gandolfini's character Daniel. I think it was Aegon for real in the Twitch chat was asking, do we think he pulls a penguin with Daniel Blake this season?
If Fisk kills.
Yeah.
Spoiler for the
penguin.
Fisk kills, or Penguin does kill someone.
That would be
on the show.
That might
kill someone.
Redeem everything. I don't know. Like, Daniel being super loyal to Kingpin, and in the end it gets him nothing would be like an incredible story.
That'd be insane. That would show like he's just bad.
He's just bad.
Like, I could see that. I'm not I always prefer big characterization swings that don't require someone to kill another character.
Okay.
That is going back to Greek myth and Shakespeare and even on Breaking Bad. Some of Walter White's biggest character moments was when he killed someone. I get that. That's fine. I just think it's more interesting to see more dastardly things. Like the fact that Walter White let Jane asphyxiate on her own vomit. He didn't save her. I thought was more interesting than when Walt runs over a guy who's about to kill, that Jesse's about to kill.
Run over Tuca?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's not Tuco. It's
It
like
was
two other
some-
guys that
someone-
Jesse's
yeah,
about to
yeah,
kill.
I'm
With
Yeah.
the Aztec.
Yeah.
Fit Dad CEO sending $20 on YouTube. Thank you.
Whoa! Fit Dad, you're watching? Okay, so I posted this on our Slack. Maybe I just follow Fit Dad
okay.
CEO. He's like huge on Instagram, and he does a lot of like parenting memes.
Awesome.
I love his
When
content.
you say he's huge, is it because he's swole?
Well,
Yeah, he's fit as hell.
the guy's fit. He's
Okay.
fit, and he makes like the best content.
Okay,
on,
hey, shout
yeah,
out.
so he's like a Vanity Rock.
What did he
I
say?
guess.
He said-
It's so flattering that you watch her stuff, dude.
Watch his super chat. Be like, I hate this fucking channel.
Okay,
That would be
give me
great. That would
2
be great.
minutes. No, Fit Dad CEO is saying, does anyone play the awkward emotion better than Vincent D'Onofrio? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's
like,
mwah.
for the gripes that we're saying, I mean, just still a lot of like these guys, Vincent and Charlie Cox, they know their characters so well.
Yeah.
I really think they're still doing some great stuff on the
One
show,
thing
you know?
that every actor, all the leads on the show do really well, Charlie Cox, Bernthal, D'Onofrio, is they can still be the human being that they've created, but do different shades of it.
Yeah.
So like, I think no one is better than Bernthal at expressing rage, just masculine rage. But through different, like Shane's rage on The Walking Dead is different from Mike Berzato's rage on The Bear is different from Frank Castle's rage. Like they are all coming at this anger from different vector points, and D'Onofrio's doing the same thing. Like he's created this bizarre human being that we accept as like a real multidimensional character who can just like do this awkward like twitching. Like he's like he hates being in this room full of kids, but like it's different from like when he's about to snap and rage out on someone. But it's all like, it's just acting. What I'm describing is acting.
but I mean,
they're
it's
so
kind
good
of hard
at
to
it.
find nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
You don't always see it.
You don't always
see it on the
Yeah,
shows.
I mean, it's Marvel, to its credit, has found some like really the right actors to play the right roles in so many ways.
Yeah. That they start just becoming that character.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio is
I can't
Wilson Fisk to me.
imagine.
And same with Frank Castle is every time I see Frank Castle, when I play as Frank Castle in Marvel Rivals, I'm like, oh, this is John Barenthal. This is John Barenthal.
I rewound that part when Matt calls him a victim and he like throws a water cup or something, and like at first I was like, did the water hit? Because he just like it's so insane. And the two of them in that scene are just like one-upping each other. So
They had to
much.
get cups. They were like, we
Incredible.
can't use glass. We can't use
like,
glass
Barenthal,
props.
stop throwing
Barenthal's
stuff.
gonna take it and smash his head into it.
Well, let's keep, talking about Frank in this scene. We got some questions about him as well. Sam had sent in a super chat saying, do you think Frank was blipped? That was a big theory going into this season. Flip side here also asking any fun theories on what he's been up to. He seems much sadder.
And even that make matters worse, if he was blipped, he just came back to nothing. He came back to he left with nothing, he came back to nothing, and now he's just in hiding.
Yeah.
And that would check out for the Punisher.
Do you think he was in Frank's castle and he got blipped? And when he came back, like the guy rented it out to somebody else. And it was like full of like little kid stuff or something. He was like, get it out of here. What am I doing? I said I'm back.
I mean, just judging from this wall of past victims, or not victims, but past perpetrators who he's hunted down, doesn't it seem like that's about 7 years worth of people?
I feel like he's been ronaning around, right?
And it would make sense why Daredevil knows where he is. Because he was probably the only two people in New York that were actually going.
Daredevil was still around, and we know Kingpin was still around.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I bet Frank was still around.
I like that Daredevil was going after any of like Wilson Fisk's kind of stuff, and then and Punisher was just going out being like, no, I'm just stopping this guy that's trying to steal something.
I think the assumption we should make for all Marvel characters is that they survived the blip unless
we're told
we are
otherwise.
explicitly told that they did not survive.
I think
that they
Thanos
were
was
dusted.
like half the universe population, but keep the defenders.
Keep the defenders.
You see, I think Iron Fist got blipped and he never came back.
Oh.
The like Tony Stark or Bruce Banner when he snapped, he's like, not that one.
There's
We're bringing back a different one.
There was an actual, like, another stone that they lied about for Iron Fist to go get, and he just died getting it. They said, you know what? You should actually go over here.
Danny, there's 7 Infinity Stones. What? Yeah, we're not telling
Danny,
anybody.
and you
This
have
is
to
just
get
for
it.
You gotta
Just you, man.
You gotta get it.
You go get it, baby.
This is in this deep cave that no one's been able to get out of before.
And it's the cave that Moon Knight's brother drowned in.
Oh, no.
Remember that show's backstory?
I love how that was too soon and really rough. Everyone
ago.
pulled back when you said that.
I mean, also because in the Penguin, his brother's drowned
dude.
too, and I
There's
that's top of mind right
There's
now.
something, and whatchamacallit dying in almost dying in Agatha, the other brother.
Oh yeah.
drowning,
About
yeah.
Something
drowning,
about
yeah.
killing by drowning.
Yeah.
That is
I think
horrific.
Christine Palmer died by drowning in most of the other universes from Doctor Strange, right?
I mean, Helena Egan on Severance,
Yeah.
definitely a near drowning victim.
We're all afraid of drowning.
We're all afraid of drowning.
Oh my God, Jason Voorhees.
Oh,
but he kind of needed it eventually.
That's his mom's fault. That's his mom's
It was his superhero origin moment.
That is
right?
true. It's not his villain origin. It's his superhero
Yeah,
origin.
that's right.
You
He's
don't
the
get
hero
Jason,
of those
You're
stories.
stuck with Jason Voorhees unless he drowns.
What if in Agatha the brother is just Jason Voorhees? Sorry, keep going.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's his powers now. He doesn't run fast anymore.
Tommy, I found you. You know what, Tommy? I'm gonna go. Go back.
Yeah, he's just running like this. It looks like you're about to take out a vampire.
I got a secret. We're all about getting the best sleep possible here at the Breakroom, which is why we're stoked that Miracle Made is one of today's sponsors. The temperature you sleep at has a huge impact on the quality of your sleep. If you're constantly waking up because you're too hot or too cold, you gotta try Miracle Made sheets. Miracle Made's fabric was inspired by NASA, so it's also thermoregulating. That means you'll sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Plus, these sheets are crazy comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. Plus, Miracle Made sheets are infused with silver. That prevents bacterial growth. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne, so sleeping on Miracle Made sheets is good for your skin too. Upgrade your sleep this year. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code BREAKROOM at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom and use the code BREAKROOM to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/breakroom to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
Okay, so let's talk about Wilson Fisk and Vanessa. Obviously, too, we get the reveal of Adam in the basement. You know, he's just hanging out there.
That hair, do we think is, what was this hair length when he
I
went
think
into the cell?
it was short.
I think he already had long hair.
You think he already
Look
had
how
long
long that hair is.
He is an artist.
He hasn't been in there for 5 years.
He is an
No,
artist.
yeah. So this actor is Lou Taylor Pucci, who was like a teenage actor in the 2000s in a movie with Vincent D'Onofrio and Wilson and Tilda Swinton called Thumbsucker. It was like a Sundance hit. And then this guy was also in a movie called Chump Scrubber that came out a year after that, which is a really good movie.
You think Vinny D got him this part? You think Uncle Vinny called
I
him up?
don't know what the connection was. Yeah, because this actor has been in other stuff since
Yeah.
then, but not with D'Onofrio. Not like I think he's just like maybe knows someone on production. But yeah, so he's just Adam. He's Adam the artist, and I think he's just some kind of artist who Vanessa met in her art dealings.
Yeah.
And she said that she found it was like finding what's it called? It was like that Swiss a German artist from the early 20th century. It's like finding it at a garage sale.
Oh, yeah.
Like she kind of found him out of
Albert
art
Dürer?
school or something
Yeah.
like that.
She liked his hands. I liked his hands. I mean, I'm kind of on Vinny's side here for a second. At that therapy session, when she's like, let's talk about Adam. And my girl Vanessa, like, she was like, oh, Adam, I just... if I was Vinny, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy.
You know what? I'm gonna
because
eat his heart.
She doesn't have to be like so turned on right now in this moment when
Also,
we're
she
discussing it.
she chose such a specific part
Yeah.
to be like
His
the
hands,
hands, where your hands are always bloodied, knuckle like bruised.
Also, look at all
and
that
your-
hair he's got. Vinny could never grow that hair.
Oh, stop! He could if he tried.
Wilson can't grow the hair, baby.
He every day he's with a razor just shaving that shit off.
I'm just excited for when it still does feel like a lot of these Vanessa Wilson Fisk scenes were like reshot or like spliced together or something. we know in trailer footage they at least go to a ball together where they're holding hands. Like, I'm excited for them to share frame in a more organic way, because I still can't tell what was reshot and like what was original. And sometimes it feels like the lines aren't syncing up. I don't know. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it too much.
No, I don't think you are. I don't know enough about like how these scenes are shot. Like I understand some basics of production and post-production and visual effects, but like I wouldn't know enough to know how you would even shoot the scene. But I do think that there is something emotionally off about like why Vanessa thinks it was okay to cheat on Fisk when he was away recovering, when the guy was in jail throughout season 2 of Daredevil. Like, I just don't really know how this affair happened, and like, it just seems like weird that she was mad at him for being away when he was recovering from an injury, and that she viewed that as an emotional betrayal.
It sounded like she was there. I think she was there. I thought it sounded like she was in the hospital with him. He disappeared, and that's when she lost faith.
So what was his disappearance? Just his
He
trip
went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, for like a week.
No, it feels like it was forever. And then also, girl, I'm not even trying to be this person. Not trying to be this person. If my man left and I'm like, okay, here's this criminal empire we run. Your emotions took you to Oklahoma to this girl that's not actually your daughter that shot you in the face. Now I have to run this company. You come back and now you want to be mayor, but you're not telling me the reason you want to become mayor. We're not a partnership anymore.
Stop clapping for this. I disagree. He was gone for like a few days to Oklahoma.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
Okay, let's look at the timeline of the episodes of Echo. You mean to tell me that was that long? You can go check out
my breakdown that's coming out on Thursday where I go over this.
I don't think it was that long. And he has business interests in Oklahoma. He had the Fisk shipping train cars to Oklahoma.
I think he was going other places. I think he was away from Vanessa.
He went to Cancun to drink
and
with the
also,
Hulk.
again, she mentioned, she's just like, I mean, I think it's kind of ham-fisted, but she does mention, like, I don't like these men separating me if it reminds me of my father. And this is a real struggle for me, and he left without telling me our partnership isn't a partnership anymore. It's just me running this game and him doing stuff. And at least I'm transparent with what I'm doing. He's not transparent at all with his feelings or what he's doing.
Tony
I think
Soprano
she just lost
went to
faith.
Vegas. Tony Soprano would go to Vegas. He would get.
That's your example?
And Edie should not have stayed. That was a bad situation.
Yeah,
she shouldn't have stayed.
Carmelo did flirt with Furio, with the priest. That's true.
And I'm also saying Vanessa is a literal murderer. Vanessa's getting people killed.
Also, Vanessa probably came home so many times, and there's like a note on the counter that's like, sorry, from Wilson, that's like, sorry, I had to leave town again. Also, there's a dead ASL translator in the kitchen. You can deal with that.
Can you clean this up real quick? At least I did it on plastic. At least there's plastic down.
This time, but like, also, can you find me another ASL translator? That would be very helpful. Thank you so much.
I think I would like to have seen a flashback of how she met Adam rather than her explain it. It's always better to show not tell, and maybe that's why I'm getting lost.
There's a mile list long dossier of things I need to still see that they're never going to show us.
Evan?
Also, TLC 236 saying that, maybe after Echo kind of like repaired his brain, maybe he was gone even longer after that too.
Oh, maybe.
So, there's the other end of that too, where he could have been, just gallivanting.
When he's on that private jet, he's like, just circle the world.
No, we're almost out of gas, sir. We're literally going to crash. No, keep going.
He's like that. He's like that rich guy from Contact who just keeps flying around.
Oh yeah.
Spoiler alert for Contact.
There's no food. There's nothing else. Sorry, that's really funny.
I've been living off of airline peanuts.
I will also say, I'm also just assuming, but if this is like 2027 or whatever they're saying, the time that he's been running for mayor, he's been so preoccupied, he's still not giving her attention.
And I would tell her his grand.
I get that.
Yeah, I would be so mad if I'm like, why are you running for mayor? We are a crime organization. He's like, don't worry, you'll see the outcome. I'm like, no, tell me now, because also your money's my money. So what are we doing here? Got me in a basement with the 5 families.
Remember that first episode where he shows up? He's like, we need to make sure everything's clean, and she's like, everything is clean, asshole.
What do you think I've been doing? Windex scrubbing, laundry wash.
And now you're taking it away from me.
She watched Ozark and said, I can launder money. That's what I did when I watched Ozark. I was like, oh, it's that easy.
I could do this.
Well, and before we move on, I still think that like the two of them together, having Heather as their therapist, I still want to know what begat what.
Yeah.
Like if they're seeing Heather on purpose because they know Heather's connections to Matt, or it's just all circumstantial. Even like Heather's kind of like, we get the little ham-fisted exposition at the end where she's like, and I can't tell you about my clients because of blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and Matt's like, I would never ask. Da, da, da. And it's like, why is Wilson Fisk going to Heather? Is it just a circumstance? Is it just because Buck really liked the book?
I think it's just circumstantial. You think it's either there's one therapist in New York City. You see this on shows all the time. Yeah. You just had to make the plot functional. And there is a screenwriting thing where you can have coincidence get your characters into trouble. You can't have coincidence get them out of trouble. And I think that's what we're seeing now. Is there's just coincidence where Heather Glenn is the therapist, the marriage counselor therapist, while also Matt's girlfriend, and then Muse has his sights on her, and then that's going to be the connective tissue between the Muse storyline.
But I think, and I think to that degree, it's like you also get to keep that on the back burner. You can just throw that out of nowhere at the end of the season and be like, Fisk was like, I always knew.
That's what I
that
think
door is always
might
open.
happen.
If they wanted to do it.
Fisk is doing it on purpose because he wants to be close to some weird thing like that, and will like reveal it to Vanessa's like, I never even cared about this.
But that's
and she's gonna be even more pissed.
But that's the thing. It's so easy to just not do that. That's I was like, they probably won't do that, but also they could.
We'll wait and see. Evan, what else you got for us?
Yeah, some kind of final comments and questions here about Vanessa, Fisk, and Adam. Fit Dad Coasting in another super chat saying, I didn't get the Vanessa affair part either. Honestly, if they took this part out of the story altogether, would it be missed? I don't get why it was added. Yeah, I think it's
just to give them conflict, right?
To conflict, and also like how much she's also tempting him back into his old life too, right? In another way, you can see it like that.
Yeah, I think there was some like this idea that like,
not like
she
that.
cheated on Wilson Fisk, but he is like kind of can he forgive that? And we know that from the trailer, Vanessa's in this lair toasting in front of the rabbit in the snowstorm painting with Fisk.
Yeah.
So is like Adam going to be behind her? Is she going to be okay with him? Did she do this as a test to him to be like, will you fight for me kind of thing? I think they're playing with that a little bit.
Do we think that they're both going to be eating sausages and penne pasta?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at these sausages, huh?
Let's take a look at that.
Shut the hell
Boom.
up.
John said it looked gross.
It does look
It's a
gross,
heavy
dude.
meal.
It does look gross. Do
I
you
like
not
those
think it
flakes
looks
of
gross?
Parmesan.
It's just a giant little look of like a breakfast link
It looks like
sausage.
finger-
It also looks cold. It looks cold.
My personal theory is that when Matt Murdock said to Wilson Fisk at the diner, like, you're lighter on your feet, I can hear that you've been losing weight. I think it got in Wilson's head. And he's like, no, I need to cultivate mass again. I need to get big again. And so he's like, I'll eat omelets and asparagus upstairs, but downstairs, boys gotta eat.
What if he's just he's like my wife's cheating, so I will have a cheat day.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Cheat day.
Yeah, I mean,
Also, eating ain't cheating.
yeah.
Name cheating. It's true.
And also, it seemed like he was maybe just coming from another dinner with Vanessa previously, right? He was drinking
2
wine.
dinners?
I'm
bang, bang, bang.
You guys
It's the bang bang?
I'm
don't
thinking 2
body
dinners.
shame this man.
No, I mean he's in.
Let him eat his meals and be as square as he wants to be.
Does Adam have to cook the food down in the basement?
By fire, he's like, you make the damn meal. Also, I'm not trying to be this person. I'm not punching down on the art person, but I'm like, remember like the menu and how they had like the Michelin star making the meals look like that? I'm like, that was definitely a PA.
Yeah. Oh,
Hannibal brought in Jose Andres
yes.
to do all the food styling in that show.
Uh-huh.
This show, Johnny the PA had to make the
He
sausage.
said,
Sorry, the money's going for the reshoots.
he said you guys had me make the Philly cheesesteak. That looked great, but I can't make a nice pasta dinner.
When I was a PA on a show that I used to work on, I had to be responsible for the people who were hosting the show, and I had to prepare all their meals, which just means like I had to pick it up from like either Crafty or do a run to a restaurant around town. But they went through a phase where they're all like, it's January, we're all going to be on a health kick, and they all had their nutritionists that they paid for at home prepare their own meals in these Tupperware containers. 5 hosts on the show, and they all did it, and some of them refused to have their food microwaved, so I had to get like hot plates, and I had to learn how to be a chef. And at one point, the line producer came backstage, and they're like, what are you doing? And I have like burns all over it, and I have all these different hot plates. And like, why are you preparing food? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to get fired.
Yeah, why didn't you stop me earlier?
Because it's my job to prepare the meals, but it's supposed to be like, Miss Doubtfire putting the food on the plates. It wasn't like you reheat all these meals at different temperatures. It was, I don't know why I
I mean,
told
you
the story.
did keep dressing as an old British woman. When
I
you
did.
it.
I said, hello.
Eric, plate my meal and also do it as Mrs. Doubtfire. You're fired.
I got some red pepper, and then I did a Heimlich on one of them.
Beautiful.
Hips and away!
It was a drive-by fruiting.
David Gonzalez had sent in a super chat at the beginning of the stream. Thanks for your patience, David. In this episode, Vanessa says Wilson could never hurt her, but we see at the end he has been lying to her, which he promised he would never do. Does this mean his changed view could put her in danger, or how do we think that like? Do we think she knows about Adam being down there? Do we think like, and if she does, how does this end up in any place that's good for both of them?
Are we talking metaphorical hurt or like physically hurt?
Both. Yeah,
I don't
either
think it would
or.
ever
I don't
physically
think
hurt
because, and that's why I think she answered to.
Yeah.
She was like, never hurt me physically.
Yeah.
But he's already hurting her emotionally.
Right.
So,
He is hiding stuff from her. He's not letting her in. They both have put up this wall between them. And someone's got to climb that wall. You know what I mean?
But them also being at the same time being like, when she's like, oh, what happened to the guy or something, and they both answer like, he's don't worry about
She
it. That's when I was
knows.
like, oh, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows, and she loves it. She loves it. He's
this
getting
is all
right
part of
back
the
into.
game.
I think she likes it more than Fisk does.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%. Are you out of your mind?
This is their love language, right?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Me holding a man captive is my love language.
Honestly,
And Sam sent in a super chat earlier saying, "Is Adam a secret Marvel character or more important than we think?" Because
Eric
the
said
show
he's Adam
emphasizes
Warlock.
him.
He stands
anymore.
by it.
And they also say, "Eric, please don't say he's a Skrull."
No,
Is he a Skrull?
no,
Why not?
because Skrulls have no dicks.
Wait.
They reproduce.
Wait a goddamn.
They reproduce through different means. Spores.
We'll talk about this after the show. We'll talk about this at Breakroom After Dark because I need to see. I need to know.
Ooh.
To kind of zoom out to the themes of this episode, obviously at the end we see both men, embracing their previous lives. Short Stackham at the beginning of the stream asked, "Do you think Matt just started going to the rooftop to practice because of what Frank said, or has he been doing this for a while?" Right? How much is this what in reaction to, and also is this just a dalliance or just like, oh, I'm just doing this thing for fun, right? Just as opposed to I am now becoming this. Obviously, we know he's going to suit up again at some point, but still.
I personally think he keeps training, like he keeps his regiment, but him doing it in the middle of the night with his with Heather over is like different. That's like him being like, I am embracing it now. I think before it was just like, oh, I'm training. He probably wasn't using like the batons before. I think before he was just doing his like workout routine.
Yeah.
But now this is a different level.
I mean, when that guy had his shirt off, he's been
He's
been doing the Lord's work in the gym.
ain't just the
that
necklace.
guy's been working
They,
out,
keep
clearly.
him shape.
I don't think he's been training. I don't think he's been using the batons. I don't think he's been suiting up. I think that, all that could use a bit more dust. Maybe there was a little mouse in there he could have brushed away to show us that he hasn't been using this gear. I think clearly, like, look, if sex with Heather is not enough to let this man fall asleep, it means he's hearing Foggy's voice in
What
the
are
corner of
you
the room.
saying?
Get him, Matt! Get him! Go get him! Or Matt, don't hurt anyone! Matt's in the corner.
Frank's little kid voice was deeper than his own voice. He was like, "Get him, Daddy. Daddy, you gotta get him."
That scene made me uncomfortable.
Papa,
I thought
Papa.
I took it as like he has been doing it on the roof all the time, only because we got that entire exchange with White Tiger that was like, this suit is what I breathe.
Right.
This is who I am. So it meant like that mirror, like, because I do think that is the one continuity or the thing that will happen throughout the rest of the season is there's always gonna be this random civilian that says something that's so heartfelt that resonates in Daredevil in one way or another to when he's going to put on the actual suit. And I think that was his decree from White Tiger, was being like, this is who I am. It's what I breathe. And we looked at Matt and was like, see, Matt, it's what he breathes. And Matt's like, little do you guys know, it also is what I breathe. I do it at night because I can't stop myself from doing it.
I could see that.
I'm also just putting myself in the spot of like, what is something I really love doing? And if I have to hide it, would I keep doing it? And I'm like, yes, I would. I would hide it upstairs on the roof.
I have to go up on the roof while
Also-
my wife's sleeping to play Fortnite.
You bring the entire...
I can't sleep. Can't sleep until I get that victory
honey,
royale.
gotta dance.
That's because you have the voice of Noob Master coming in through your headset. Like,
Get him, Brandon! Get him! I wanted... Every last one of them's dead. Get him, Daddy! I wanted to go back to the other question that the person said about Adam being any other character. Have we only solidified that maybe Buck is the only person that hasn't shown who he could be potentially, right? Does that make sense? Everyone at Wilson Fisk is Wilson Fisk. Matt Murdock is Daredevil. We know who is the Muse.
You think Buck?
But Buck is the only person that's a normal human being. But in the comics is something, so he could be potentially someone else.
no.
I guess Daniel Blake is new, right? He's a new person. He's not anyone else, right?
Which one's Blake?
Daniel.
Michael Gandolfini.
Gandolfini.
Daniel, BB Urick is new.
Yeah. But I wonder, I mean, obviously with just the name Adam, it's hard, right? It's obviously not Adam Warlock, but it's like, what?
I think they want to keep it like this
yeah.
is just
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
that
Yeah,
they can
just
kill
a
off
guy.
if they want.
I feel
That's a
like-
good point,
isn't that-
Jessica, yeah.
Isn't that MCU or well, maybe I'm reaching for this. I thought MCU TV always do kind of like Monica Rambeau. It was like, oh yeah, this is Monica Rambeau. She's not Photon. And then at the end, she becomes Photon.
But we've also had like Madison. Like, there's always been like new people.
That's why I was like, but he's the only one that's like a comic book character, right?
Yeah, because Sheila, who is Fisk's like chief of staff, Buck Cashman, obviously someone from the comics, but Sheila is new. I think it's kind of a mix. I think you have some people who are, some people who are.
Well, as Matt starts to embrace the devil within again, we do get a look into his cute little storage locker where he's got all of his masks, the different mask designs. I think we have a shot of them here.
Ooh,
we saw this in the trailer,
masks,
of course, and then we get like an alternate angle in this one.
They're so
From left to
shiny.
right, we got the gray, we got red, we got gold and black. I think the gold one is the one he brought back from California, right? Yeah, and you got that another like blackish one there, and then like a reddish one with a little more texture on it, right? Do we think we'll ever get an explanation of these different suits or how he acquired them or what he used them for? Or you think this is just like for the fans, like he's been daredeviling it up? I assume a lot of these were during the blip, right? Maybe he took on different monikers.
He made them.
Yeah, was his suit? I forget his suit guy from the series.
He died.
Did he get killed? He got killed, right?
Didn't he die in
Did he
the
die?
didn't-
Melvin?
Yeah, Melvin.
I think he.
I thought he died. Didn't he?
I don't think he died.
Because he went for his girlfriend. Remember?
Right?
Wasn't
Yeah,
his
yeah.
girlfriend?
I
Damn, I'm sorry.
don't think
I'm sorry.
Maybe he
I did
never
not
came
know.
back from the blip. We don't know. Maybe he's got a
Either
new
way.
suit guy.
It's not. Well, Melvin Potter, I don't think is a suit guy anymore either way, because he
Right.
went to L.A. and had the suit guy in L.A.
But he came back, and Melvin's
You
like,
can
wait a
send
minute.
I think
suit
he
from
goes
LA,
to L.A.
yeah.
for the suits.
Oh, you
I can
think
see that. Or they
Because
could send-
he was a past client
That's
of
right,
that
that's
guy.
right.
So Luke Jacobson, was that his name? Yeah. So I think that guy is his tailor now.
I can see that.
That's where he got the golden suit. I think like the suits are like it's what's weird is there were two red ones. The one on the far right had the kind of texturing that he was wearing in the prologue scene where Foggy dies. But we know he still has the broken horn.
Yeah.
So like either he
wait a
has
minute.
two of those.
Wait a minute. Bring that photo back up.
Bring it back up. Show us a shot. Yeah, that one on the
Wait
far
a
right.
minute.
That is basically the mask that he was
Wait.
wearing in the opening scene. But
Girl.
the horn is repaired here, so he either has two of those suits, or like between the opening rooftop scene in this episode and now he's repaired it. I don't think that's the case. I think he has multiples.
Yeah.
The polished red one, second from the left, is looks like what he was wearing throughout season 2 of Daredevil, and I think that's the suit he was wearing in the Echo flashback scene.
Oh, yeah.
We've never seen him wear the black mask or that bluish gray mask. That I don't know if we're gonna get explanations for those. I think the idea is that like Matt was just implied to have fought different battles in different cities,
Got
and
really
he needed
into
different gear
being
for it.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
Didn't we see these helmets in like the very first trailer of Daredevil? Born
Yeah,
Again?
Yeah, that's where that other shot where you can see them more clear from. And
Because I was like, I remember everyone was discussing those helmets.
How
We were
many
going on.
how many Funkos do you think Matt Murdock's got?
of himself.
Well, I wonder in this universe if well, I think in Miss Marvel at Avengers Con there were Funko Pops.
To be
Built
clear
like me.
about Melvin Potter, he's not dead. He was taken into custody for parole violation, so he's not
think-
operative anymore.
Melvin
dead to
Potter's
the
gonna be
world.
walking down the street and see like Daredevil beating on a guy and be like, "Oh, so you got a new suit, Daredevil? Where'd you get that from?
Is that
Seen
Louis
someone
Vuitton?
new? Is that- Interesting. I didn't make that suit.
I'm
for
not
you.
saying Luke Jacobson has better
I'm
clothes,
just saying,
but
I'm just
he had a
saying.
full. He looked actually clean about his. Melvin was kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
No offense, Melvin.
Ooh, dang.
I'm sorry,
Ooh, dang.
Melvin. I'm sorry.
dang.
Also, I bet Luke Jacobson is also giving deals to Daredevil. Like he's like, here's a free suit because you got me out of my bind.
It's true. It's true.
You got me out of my bind with
got
the
a discount.
leapfrog.
Let's talk about Angela, okay? We saw her at the beginning of the episode. This is Hector Ayala.
That is a horrible still to use. That poor girl.
What do you mean?
she's bawling her eyes out.
Yeah.
Oh, she's sad.
She'll never stop crying.
Of course, in the comics, Angela Del Toro becomes the White Tiger after Hector dies. Do you think there's any plans to have this character come back as the White Tiger, you know, as some sort of Young Avengers type thing? Not that I think they'll ever do Young Avengers, but if they are bringing more young people into the MCU, are they setting up some long-term planning? Is this just a like break in case of emergency? We can use this character at some point again. Or do you think they literally have a plan to do that? They went out of their way to cast this character and do it. Is that just lip service to the comic books? Or do we think they might plan to bring this character back again?
I really do think we will see her come back.
Okay.
Yusuf Khan is going to be on this show. I think Kamala Khan's going to cameo on
Okay.
this show. And I think we're going to see, my question is, are they going to call it anything in particular? I don't think they'll call it the Young Avengers.
I don't think they'll ever use that term.
I don't think they will. I think it'll look like the Champions more than it will the Young Avengers. It's going to be a mix of both teams, but I think it's going to capture the spirit of the Champions more than the Young Avengers. And that's just like based off the interviews with Iman Vellani. She's, if you read both these comics, Champions is better than Young Avengers.
Sure. And I think using the term Young Avengers is tough because these actors grow up so fast.
Yeah.
It takes so long to make movies and shows. Like, don't slap a title on it like that. It's very easy in the comics to keep people young for a long time.
Yeah, and young also just guarantees that a lot of people aren't going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicle. It just feels like, they're going to want to call it.
And you were mentioning before we went live that they were talking about the amulet glowing.
Yeah.
In one original kind of cut of the show.
Yeah, the director's episode told Brandon Davis that there was a cut of this episode that said that he would that they originally had the tiger amulet's eyes glowing. So I think there was like a version of this where the amulet was going to start to repossess someone else in this moment, and that they just cut that because that would be too interesting, I guess. I don't know how big of a character Angela's going to be on whatever this team is, but I do think in the way that we saw Kamala Khan recruiting Kate Bishop, we're going to see other people on this team for a future spin-off show.
I love it.
And then I hope that Matt Murdock is kind of like their papa,
a
mentor figure to them.
Yeah, I hope so. He's a great one.
Yeah, they've kind of teased that on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where that Daredevil is a mentor to Finesse. Yeah, I would love to see that here. Would love to see it maybe by the end of the season. I don't know. I don't think they have plans to do it, but I hope so. Evan?
Arturo Gaza just sent a super chat. Great timing as we move into our next topic. Greetings from Chicago. They're saying Vanessa is Muse, in my opinion. She has the motivation to slander Fisk with art, and bro from the book signing is an intentional misdirect.
It's revealed that it's actually Vanessa's body this time. She carried that
She's
man.
strong.
She's strong as hell. That's lifting all that paint, that paint, and all that artwork all the
As a
time.
fireman's carry, you using your balance.
I'll tell you right now, I would pull my back out, and I'm much stronger than Vanessa. So if that's her, that'd be crazy as hell.
I love that super chat came from the city of rock and roll.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Muse is very interesting. I mean, very creepy. Him kind of stalking down the subway tracks in the tunnels, like stopping as a train goes by, and then he has this little lair. He's sucking blood out of people, like draining it out of live people, like not even killing them first.
They gotta keep producing it.
You think he's keeping them around to their blood bags, basically?
I don't think it's easy to steal a body, to steal a human, if you're Muse. So it's like, I can only take like one a week. Yeah, one a month.
Like, so he keeps them alive. He keeps them alive.
As long as he can.
Ooh, that's even darker.
I know when you donate blood, they take a pint of blood and you replenish that blood within 24 hours. But they only let you donate every 8 weeks because you take that long to kind of build up the hemoglobin.
So he keeps them for like 8 weeks?
So, I
That's
think
a long time.
you could be draining the blood and letting the body make more blood, but it's going to be weaker. It's not going to be as strong.
I mean, and that's when he re-ups. We did
Then
rewatch
you gotta
the trailer.
feed these people. You got to have somewhere for them to piss and shit.
and maybe
They got
that's the
cookies
quicker.
and orange juice.
He's holding it up.
Yeah.
He's like, I need more blood.
It's like ginger ale. Would you like to watch something?
We watched the trailer again, and we did see those people strung up, and
Yeah.
it did look like they were kind
You
of.
see some people strung up.
Yeah.
in
It's
the
a-
video.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I cannot remember after the reaction, but
It's dark.
Has he been using this blood in his artwork already, do you think? In
think
the murals
so.
he's putting up, he's like mixing.
I don't know.
the blood.
I like some red was used for some of it. The triggered one wasn't that red? Part of the Mayor Fisk,
White.
the flames
the
were
flames
red.
are red.
Yeah.
I could see him using it for those. Like he has been using it for some of them, and he's probably mixing it to dilute because the blood is very. I don't know blood. Please
know-
please don't take this to heart. I'm like, blood's not as thick like paint is, so he's probably mixing it to make like half portions of this.
Well, it's not
and
gonna
that.
just stick to the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, blood when it dries turns like a rust brown
Yeah.
color.
Which it kind of does look like on the flames.
We know that there's a shot from the trailer, right, of a big mural on like a bridge column of Daredevil that says "Born Again" underneath. I don't know if that'll be like. That to me seems like something you would see at the end of this series, like, oh, Daredevil's back. But assuming Muse is making these murals, I think we might see Daredevil in this next episode, and that inspires Muse to come back out again. Like, what do you think Muse's point is here? Why is he? Is it because of vigilantes? Is it because the city is so violent, as we've been seeing in the BB report, right? Like everyone's like, "Hey, city's it's on the verge of something crazy."
Yeah.
Is Muse just feeling that energy and like making these portraits?
I think he's doing social commentary on like what he's seeing in the world, and he's like, then as an artist, he's like, this is the way I show it. I'm showing the story through my art. His depictions are horrible. Clearly, he's doing it. He's using means of horribleness.
Yeah,
to
but
do
why
it.
is he killing people to do that? He could just make the painting.
But that's the that's the art of it.
Okay.
Is like the disaster of humanity is in this blood. Like I can paint you what's going on in the world, but it really hits home when I'm using an actual human being to do it. If that makes sense. Like the disaster in our life is through the means of this person's blood. The actual
Yeah, I
art
feel
of
like we're getting into kind of like what's the criminal show on Netflix where you learn criminal profiles, like Mindhunter. We're doing kind of some Mindhunter stuff here, but I would imagine maybe Bastion might make some argument like all art requires suffering, in a way, and that like you can see art that has had pain that's required. Like there should be some kind of sacrifice, a toll that must be paid to produce a work of art, and so like it makes the art more powerful if the subject or if the materials were made out of human suffering in a way. So he's like trying to tell the story of suffering in the city of New York using actual suffering to do that. Like he believes there's power in it. Not that I agree.
That's
in
exactly
that.
what
I'm
I
just
was saying. So if we were saying that's what Mindhunter was doing, that's exactly what I said. Like that's exactly what I think he's doing.
Is he doing his stuff because of Daredevil or because of Kingpin or because of Punisher? Or is that just like separate? Do you think?
Do you think just maybe New York fucked him up?
Maybe. Oh yeah, maybe just like what New York has become has driven him crazy. I'm just trying to see what his connection will be. Is it that like Matt's gonna stop him just because he's doing these things, or is he like purposefully trying to draw out the Daredevil or draw out Kingpin or draw out Punisher?
I don't think he wants to draw out. If you draw them out, he's gonna beat his ass.
I don't think it's any one particular inspiration or any one person who's inspiring him. I think he is just like commenting on the general bloodbath and the conflict among these people. Like he is someone who saw the rabbit in the snowstorm painting carted out of the presidential hotel with blood smeared on it. And that might have triggered him. He's someone who's just watched, like maybe he was a kid looking out his window when that one guy in season 1, after he said the name Fisk, impaled his head on the spike. Like anytime someone's been bloodied up and that he watched Fisk crush a guy's head, he's just a kid who's seen all this shit.
He's the Forrest Gump of Wilson.
Or he's just seen it on the news.
At every event.
He's seen it on the news. Maybe his dad was a mortician or something like that and brought his work home. Who knows how he saw this stuff? But there's been enough bloodshed in the city that clearly just affected him, and he's trying to like artistically display it in a way that he can control and like try to make something beautiful out of it. But obviously, it's disgusting what he's doing. This isn't good. I'm not trying to justify it. They're saying like try to go into the criminal profile and the criminal psychology.
He's trying to get out of it. That's why he wants to talk to Heather. But
It's true. You do want to talk to her.
I also,
Do you think you want to talk to her because he wants help or because he's obsessed with her?
I think he thinks he's like, I'm doing bad things and I can't stop it. I also think this is like a pure blood villain that I don't love it, but I'm like, this is an actual bad person.
V.
This is capital V. This is just a serial killer.
Yeah. His motivations don't really matter. He's just
He's just a serial killer, which I love. I'm like, I don't think the MCU has ever had to tackle like just a Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm not saying that he's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right. But just like a straight up serial killer.
He is kind of like, who was the guy?
I mean, he's very Hannibal Lecter.
I don't want to go through. I don't want to go through the list.
It's very Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Not the eating, but the like presentation.
Yeah.
That's probably to come very soon. Because right now it's just been murals, but I think eventually it will involve bodies.
It'll be statues.
Well, and Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs took the prison guard and made like this angelic display out of him. So it is similar in that like the food that Hannibal Lecter would prepare was like his form of artistic.
Right.
And in the show, weren't they? No, it was one of the killers in Hannibal in the show that was actually presenting the bodies on display as like antlers or something else. Sorry, Evan.
Let's check in on that theory of like Foggy maybe faked his death. Do we think that still has any relevance here? I mean, Matt was like very emotional with Frank. So if Foggy did fake his death, I don't think Matt knows that.
Right. Matt would have to be ignorant to it.
Which again, I think is like crazy.
Yeah, it would be really hard to fake it because you got to imagine Matt would kind of you made a great video, and I think there is enough there that like, maybe Matt was so emotionally distraught that he just stopped listening for a heartbeat, especially if Foggy was using tetrodotoxin B. It will make this show such a crazier logical leap if that is what happened.
I don't think they know the drug.
I know Foggy's coming back in season 2. I just think it's going to be through flashbacks and through like a projection of Matt's conscience talking back to him. And like Daredevil as a show has already done this. Wilson
Right.
Fisk was that to Matt in season 3. So I think they'll do that. I think it'll just be like he hears Foggy's voice. Foggy's there in the room with him talking to him. TV shows do this all the time.
That'll be insane if the end of the season's revealed that he's in like witness protection. Because I'd also be like, who put him in witness protection? I guess who is like
Nick Fury.
Cherry.
And then you bring in Nick
Cherry?
Fury, which
Cherry.
if it's Cherry,
Oh, yeah,
it makes
where was
sense.
Cherry
Cherry
this
would make
episode?
sense. Cherry wanted to
I'm
retire.
worried about Cherry.
Cherry's gonna die.
I'm
Cherry's
worried.
gonna die. Cherry's gonna die, and I'm
think
gonna be
Muse?
very upset.
Muse is gonna get to Cherry. Or
I mean, can
Do you
Muse
think he's-
lift Cherry? Cherry's a big guy.
Hey.
No, I mean, he's a strong former detective. He's a PI. He's a strong guy.
Evan, any other chat questions?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here that
go.
I want to run through really quick. So, of course, Arthur Dennis sending a super chat saying no pizza balls this week. Yeah, we didn't get a New York food this week, but we got New York clubs, huh?
We got
Exactly what we wanted.
Yep.
the food. We got a little bit
we
of
got
food.
this-
You know what I mean?
We got the sausage at
We got
the end.
fiddle faddle.
Yeah, we got fiddle
Oh, we
faddle.
got
There
That's
we
not
go.
related to New York.
Yeah.
Is it not?
We got the sausage.
East
No, they
Coast.
sell it all over the
Yeah.
place.
I've never, when we first watched it, I'm like, I guess this is a brand of caramel corn. I just didn't grow up
I meant to
having this
bring in
in my
some
grocery
fiddle faddle. I'm
stores.
so sorry. Next week.
I grew up in a safe way. No fiddle faddle.
Okay, so we also got some questions about Heather. You know, we talked about her in relationship to as being a therapist for Fisk and Vanessa. Actually, 61202 saying, what do you think the point of Heather is? Is it just to be fridged? Is it supposed to be that she's a compelling love interest? They aren't doing a great job.
Yeah.
And Dave Vid Gonzalez sending another super chat saying, Matt is not allowed to have nice things. Do you think his girlfriend will survive at the end of the season? Maybe killed by
I hope they
Muse?
don't kill her.
I hope they don't, but there is no other reason that that
I
poor
hope-
woman is written into the show except for to die.
My hope is that she rejects Matt because of like
That'd be
this-
great.
This Daredevil personality.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you're messed up, dude. I do
But-
not want any part of this.
But it has to affect him.
Yes.
Which is, I don't know if it will, but
he needs to be
I
rejected
hope.
because my man gets laid too much, too easy.
That's the
has
thing.
no
That's why I don't
problem.
think he's gonna be like, okay, my bad. I also think his like, maybe they're moving away from this. Elektra was that love, was that like rejection, being like, I'm never gonna
Elektra
come back.
comes back and kills her. Elektra killing Heather
You're
would
still
be
killing
wild.
her though. You're still killing
But that's
her.
That would be
different.
two
That's
deaths that
different.
Elektra would
That's
come back
different.
from.
And then she goes back. She dies again.
I mean, my man Matt's out there being like, I smell the honey on your breath, girl. And it's like, my guy.
look.
It's
You
a
got Heather at home.
legal tactic. He's just
That's a legal tactic.
yeah, and it worked.
Hitting on people.
It worked,
Hitting
didn't
on.
it?
Oh my god.
Girl, I know you got that Latvian bod. I might not be able to see, but I can hear it. Oh.
Get him off.
I can hear that rum
Leave him.
shaking
Get him
when
out
it
of here.
comes
We
down
should
the
also
hallway.
clarify, guys. Latvia.
Latvia.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Latvia.
you mentioned Latveria. Latveria is a fictional country. Latvia is a real country in the Baltic and Eastern Europe.
But I bet you it was there was a draft where they said, why don't we call it Latveria? Why not? Close
That
enough,
would have
right?
been
It's so close.
wild.
They knew what they were playing with. They're
Yeah.
playing with a little fire. Also, that Latvian choir. There is a Latvian choir in New York. That I was trying to see if they hired them for this. I didn't see any mention in the
There
credits.
is there's an actual.
Well, there's this great story about like there was a player for the Knicks who was Latvian, and so the Knicks in like 2018 had like Latvian Heritage Night, and they brought this choir in to sing the Latvian choir, and they sang it this day. And so they were going to do it the second annual one in 2019, but they traded the player like right before it, and they canceled the Latvian Heritage Night. And there's this article with this Latvian dance troupe that was so excited to go and perform. And they're like, Latvian Heritage Night is canceled. We don't have any Latvian players.
Let them sing.
We don't care.
We built the city on rock and roll. Let them sing it. Let them sing it.
Please.
I don't want to
Beautiful.
ever crush their dreams.
Beautiful stuff.
We should briefly talk about We Built the City on Rock and Roll.
Yes, please.
I believe what happened was Disney recently bought the rights to Starship Song because it was in Paradise.
Yes.
And it was twice in this episode. And the reason why it took... Do we have to explain to people why it was weird? Like, I
Do
don't...
people not think it's weird?
Well, I think
it's
people were getting after us, I think, for just talking about the tonal shifts. Well, yeah, clearly it was meant to be jokey, but like, why not just have this classroom full of kids sing a song that a normal classroom full of kids would sing? I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
No, because hear me out. I like this joke a lot, and it made me laugh very hard when the second one kicked in. I could see it as like, okay, the mayor's coming. We need to do a city. Obviously, you would sing like start spreading the news, New York, New York. You'd sing something like that, but they're like, no, I want to get out of the box a little bit. If you watch Glee, right? They're always singing old 80s songs because their teacher's old, and that's all he likes is like those old 80s songs. So the teacher, the one who leads this little children's choir, they're like, we're gonna do We Built This City because that's what we're doing. Mayor Fisk can fix it. He's building the city, so we're gonna build that city. That same conversation happened at the Latvian Center. They came up with the same idea, and they both think they're so clever, and that's what's so funny about
I
it.
would let it go the first time, but I'm not letting it go the second time. I don't know.
What do we
it was a
think?
weird
There's
choice.
so many songs you could do,
Yeah, I
and I
think it was a
get
weird
a Glee because it's high school,
And it's also
my
Eddie
high
Murphy.
school choir teachers would have us do pop songs in middle school, and some of those kids looked like they were 7 years old. There's no way in middle school we would do like.
It's a safe song to sing.
That's a weird
How is it a
song.
safe
to-
song?
That's a
There's
weird
nothing.
song
There's
to
nothing
sing.
controversial.
Oh,
in that
sure,
song.
but it's weird. It's like a difficult song for kids to sing, and it's weird. It's absurd.
I don't
it's
think
an
I ever did
unusual
an
thing in
80s
an
ballad.
improv scene that never gets addressed. And like, it'd be one thing if they just said, "Why would they?" They're like, "Well, we thought that would be a great campaign song for you, and people love it." Like, why not just have a line like that?
Well, yeah.
They treated it as if this was a normal thing.
I
that
think
a
it's
classroom would
because-
sing an '80s pop song.
Both choir teachers thought they were being clever, and it's not that clever. It's so on the nose.
I don't know. I think we're reading too into it. It's a bad idea.
Wilson Fisk is in hell.
Bad song.
He's in hell.
And I get that.
He got
I get
elected
that
to
it's
hell.
an awkward song to have to listen to because it's not a good rock song.
It's the best joke that's happened in an MCU series so far.
That's wild, Dan. I don't know if
down.
I'm taking that.
Best-
Too.
mean, my-
best joke.
But it's also like I don't know. I don't think it should have been funny. I don't know. Maybe that's what took
funny.
me out. I just learned about the prison industrial complex, and then I'm going immediately to this.
Right.
It's not a joke.
That's-
What do you think? It's a game?
And it would. And jokes have setups, Brandon. You know this better than I do. You're funnier than I am.
Set up,
than us.
set up the
You're
children
funnier
singing.
than us.
The
It was a
punchline,
non
the
sequitur.
Latvians are singing.
It was a non sequitur that was never explained. All we have to do is have a scene where Fisk is like, I don't like run on read today's agenda. We're going to the song. You're going to the school. They're gonna sing for you. He's like, I hope it's not some random song because I've been having to do like
You're
set it up.
ruining the joke.
No,
You're setting up the joke.
Here's what I need. I needed a third instance.
You're setting
Yeah,
up
we
the
need a
joke.
third
We need him.
We need a third
We need
one.
him in the mayor's limo.
Comedy
and
comes in threes.
and it's on the radio, and
Yes.
it just starts beating the radio.
Yes.
That's what.
Yes.
That I would take that. I
100%.
would have taken that. But I would have also. But they didn't do that, and I would have taken
It's
the
a
setup.
good joke.
I would have taken the setup.
It's a good American joke.
It wasn't supposed to be a joke.
Also, my pitch, the second song the kids were supposed to sing, it was anti-Fisk teacher, and they're going to sing, you're going to sing New York, I Love You, but You're Bringing Me Down by LCD Sound System.
Oh yeah, that would be better.
I love it.
Get out of here.
Or what if they like altered the song to be Fisk related? Like that would have been fine. Like change the word from like we built this city to like fix Fisk
No, they should
City
have
on
done
Rockin'.
putting on the Fisk.
I would have done that too.
Or
put on
Fisk can fix it. Can he
he
fix
fix
it?
it?
Fisk can fix it.
Yes, he can. That's Obama's though.
What
Yes, he
his
can.
was? Oh yeah, that was his. Yeah, that's right.
His saying.
I do understand in the writers' room they're probably like, well, Fisk is trying to rebuild the city, so
Yeah.
we built the city, and then it's also like the worst song, so it wouldn't be funny to see him tortured through the experience. And then what if the Latvian group does it too? The fact that there wasn't a third was an issue. I just think we needed some kind of context. The Whiplash was just like too random
that.
and too funny.
Honestly, I love the disaster it had us in right now in this room.
Yeah,
Which
that's
it did.
true.
This
Which
is
it
why
did
it
with the
worth-
was
reaction.
worth it.
With the reaction too, it literally had me like beside myself. I was like, I'm gonna lose it.
Clip this out, Disney Social, please. Let us know.
Second
I'm crashing
kid song,
out. I'm crashing
Second kid
out.
song. What was I made for? Billie Eilish.
Ooh.
Just,
I love
and then Wilson starts crying.
Yeah.
And it's one really good singing kid doing it.
Someone give Vanessa on the phone. I need to apologize.
All right, Colt Cupid sent in a super chat earlier saying, have you seen the guy who locked himself in a glass cage and had to listen to We Built This City on repeat? Feels like it was just meant to be annoying being mayor instead of Kingpin. Yeah, definitely
Yeah, I think the
some type of
tortuous
thing.
nature of it is the joke. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
I did not
definitely-
see this guy though who did this.
They were using that at some CIA black sites for sure.
Yeah.
Blasting We Built This City.
NV Comics has sent a comment and super chat earlier saying, to me, Adam is a Bible reference with him being punished for
Yeah.
what Fisk sees as Vanessa's Eve, sin, and Fisk is the god of New York City, Matt is the devil. Fun, I like
That's
that.
it.
You don't
Adam
need a
wasn't
lot.
punished in the Book of Genesis.
They got kicked out of the Garden.
was punished.
Ooh, we got some religious talk
He
now.
got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and then he had to chop the end of his penis off.
What? No, he didn't. In
That's
what
part
world
of the
did he do
punishment.
that?
That's part of the punishment.
No, he
Happened.
Listen, I read the Bible quickly, okay? I just
You
hit the
skimmed
highlights.
it?
I hit the
Yeah,
highlights.
yeah,
You skimmed
Those
it and
Spark
put your
Notes?
own
They
parts
said,
in it?
Adam, you're out of the Garden of Eden. You're going to feel pain. Chop the end of that penis off.
Is that why circumcision's happening?
Yeah, that's why.
Hey, speaking of punishment, Captain Obvious asking, not including the Punisher special, do you think by the end of Daredevil could we see a Punisher Reborn-like show? Great question. Do we get a Punisher show?
He's
I
not
think
gonna be mean or sad anymore.
Yeah.
Nah, that's impossible, right? I think he has to be sad
Punisher
forever.
movies make way more sense than like shows, right?
Yeah, I
Three
think
Punisher
so.
movies, right?
Yeah, there were.
3? Yeah.
There was the
feels
two
right.
Thomas Jane ones. And there was
And then
one.
Punisher Warzone
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Ray Stevenson.
Yeah. I think doing special, I think the series for Punisher is like very tough because it's like, do you have him kill every episode? Is it, he's such a bad dude.
Yeah.
Such a bad dude.
Yeah, I think a special presentation is perfect. I don't think we've had 2 seasons of
Do we think
Punisher.
he'll suit up and team up with Daredevil in this series? Does he put on the vest?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, just for time, I'm going to start running through these a little quick. We'll keep it tight here. Fish on a Bike sending in a super chat. Great username. I'm thinking that Daniel will go from being an eager Fisk believer to a doer of progressively wretched deeds, possibly even killing someone for Fisk.
Yeah.
Feels likely.
I think he'll
Devoted
go on
believer.
Kingpin. Yeah, I don't know.
Who's this guy? Who's he gonna kill?
I think he's going to attack Sheila.
Oh.
No, Daniel will.
Just Daniel seems like a little boy.
I know, but I think he's
But
gonna
so was
snap.
Fisk, and he snapped.
Yeah, but we saw that hammer set up with him. We just haven't had any kind of violence.
I think Fisk
set
will
up with
bring
this
out the
guy.
hammer and hand it to Daniel.
I also
and be
think
like,
just
"Do
because
it."
Netflix set it up well doesn't mean that Disney might set it up sloppily. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they might just have him snap one day and throw a phone and it hit someone in the head.
Daniel's gonna be like, you call this sausage and penne? My boss ain't gonna eat this shit. You eat it.
My bedtime should be 10 p.m., not 8 p.m.
Where's my ketamine?
He's gonna accidentally push someone in the landfill, the whole garbage.
God.
He's gonna be, and just run away.
Yeah. Teddy Bear just in a super chat saying the song's having all of us crash out just like it had Fisk crashing out.
Yeah.
Dude, it does have me crashing out. I think I'm crashing out more so because I thought you guys were on me and Eric's side.
Yeah, I know, right? To not have
And maybe
it
I
the
was
other
wrong.
way.
Maybe I'm wrong, and I will also take an L. But I'm not gonna. I'm standing on business when I say that song was stupid.
I don't know if anyone was coming after us for that. It's just
Okay.
like no one, like everyone forgave that. And then just love that Punisher scene so much that they're just like willing to write off that bizarre midsection of the episode. It's just like, no, I'm fine with it. Like, how did that not derail you?
Hey, I'm fine with it.
I know you're
I'm fine with
with
it.
You
I'm fine with it. We'll say
Yeah,
it.
you just numb, starved
you
for Marvel content,
baby.
people loving it so much that you're willing to
Baby.
overlook insane things that happen in it. If you get a bit of Bernthal in it, that forgives all sins.
I mean, for you just said it though.
Have you no souls when you watch your content?
You just said it when you put in like one person people are starving for. They're like, wait,
Give me my toys. I got a bit of my toys. Thank you.
oh my god, Krampus.
Just running around,
Krampus.
just running around playing the
Krampus?
victim. Huh?
You're that's the opposite of Santa.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the little bits we get, Nacho gave me 20 saying, anyone else think the Skrull mention was a meta joke on them not going into Secret Invasion? Charlie Cox
Hey,
played it
never gonna
like a
bring that
deadpan joke. Incredible. When he
read it
just
out.
goes,
Yeah.
nope. So good.
I think the nope was the meta.
Yeah.
Slap down on that.
Great.
Nope.
Incredible.
Scroll.
Danielle Evans sent in a super chat. What do you think will happen when Matt discovers that Heather is Fisk's therapist? If at all, do you think Fisk and Vanessa will stay together? If that discovery.
I wonder
think-
how
I think-
he's gonna find out because she's not gonna tell him. It's patient,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
think he's gonna
secret.
follow Fisk.
Yeah, to the office.
Yeah. Or maybe like show up at her office to go on a date or something, and he walks out.
Oh,
and
he
Fisk
walks out
in.
and they pass each other. I can see that.
I would just needed a place to use the bathroom. I don't need
I like
therapy.
the hands that you're doing.
I'm very strong mentally.
I don't have to piss. I never piss.
I've never pissed in my life.
Where's that asparagus?
All my piss comes out with my shit. I shit only.
Last few here, Giddy Nerd asking anyone else wondering just how strong Kingpin is now. He definitely got a superhuman type upgrade on top of already being a big guy. Remember, he ripped off a car door like it was nothing, survived a shot to the head, to the eye. What do we think?
You know what I've been-
cultivating mass. He's got to get.
You know what I rewatched? I rewatched the Hawkeye fight scene. A piece of me was like, yeah, this man's strong, but he's beating up Kate Bishop. Like, I'm not trying to be Kate Bishop doesn't have any combat skills,
Yeah.
and he was throwing her. And I was like, how strong is he?
He ripped a car door off.
Yeah.
But that was before Hawkeye, right?
No,
So-
that was in Hawkeye to get
yeah.
to Eleanor Bishop.
Oh, he
ripped
did?
the car door. Yeah.
Okay, so he is strong still. Or maybe
Or
it
he
was
just
the
had like
Hawaiian
that.
shirt.
Yeah, so the Hawaiian shirt,
said,
big
"Ooh."
shirt energy.
He got it from
White
the
tiger.
DOD. That was a mystical Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now that's my superhero.
Yeah.
That is absolutely my superhero. And he listens to only Jimmy Buffett, and I love him. Jimmy Buffett empowers him, and that is
Need a
my
cheeseburger
hero.
in paradise.
I like mine with lettuce and
A tomato.
Heinz 57, and French fried potato.
You guys
If
don't...
those kids sang Cheeseburgers in Paradise,
See?
I would forgive
What
it.
it- what it-
That
that's the thing.
would make no sense.
Hold on! You can't apply a different standard.
Wait. I think they both don't make sense, but it would have been better with Jimmy Buffett.
Building
No.
the city.
Jimmy Buffett was building a great
Building
sandwich.
the
He was
city.
making a great sandwich.
We gotta go.
And the thing is, they both don't make sense, but that would have been better. Jimmy Buffett, 100% would have been better for me.
I'm losing my mind.
You guys are
not.
insane.
Last few here.
No, I need to talk about Jimmy Buffett still.
All right, thank you for the super chats we didn't get time to address on air. Rant Al Moore, Typhon91, Raymond K. Zessel, Zay Reviews, E Gomez. Thank you all so much. Arthur Dennis saying Daniel's going to get killed by Muse. Highly likely.
Oh yeah, he could be sucking that blood.
Yeah. I have one more, but yeah, please, who gets a mural and who gets thrown off a building?
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think Who gets a mural? Who gets one of the? I do a mural of the Latvian choir. They get the mural this week. Totally, 100%. I'd throw those cops who arrested Leroy off the building because they stole some fiddle faddle and they deserve.
Oh,
to
the
be thrown off
cops.
building.
Yeah.
There's some dirty
Yeah.
cops.
I'm
Dirty cops.
I'm giving my mural to Muse to paint, not Muse to be on the mural. I want Muse to make the mural, and I want to read his story. I want to see between those lines.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna throw that damn child choir.
Damn, kids,
Children. Fuck them kids.
young,
Fuck them kids.
even younglings.
Fuck them kids, bro. It's either that or the industrial prison complex, which I refuse to get rid of. I'd rather lie
Whoa.
at getting rid of that.
Yikes.
Toss them kids.
My God.
Line up, kids.
Go.
Tallest to shortest, because I'm getting tired.
Tell us the shortest. Start with the heaviest and then go to
The tall ones have to help.
Yeah.
You lift your peer. Throw him over.
Jessica, you here to help us?
Oh, no.
My mural goes to the teacher at Lincoln Middle School who thought she could get in a second song.
Oh, yeah.
For our next song. That teacher deserves a medal for thinking she has
The show must go on.
Too.
The show must go on.
I love that. Trying to get some extra time. Appreciate the effort. Get the mural. Throw off the building has to go to Daniel, man. Daniel, fuck Daniel.
Yeah, he got played.
You're gonna. I
He
feel
got
like
played
you're
a
gonna.
film.
I also feel like you're gonna throw him off the building a couple times. Not just you. Me too.
Like, how are you gonna go out clubbing with a reporter and like talk about what are you doing?
And then
dude?
his.
Ketamine?
Also, yeah, straight up telling your boss you do ketamine.
Hey,
That's
you kept
an
his
insane
job.
thing to do. But also that's why I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna reward this bad behavior. You're not good at your job. That's crazy. That's crazy work that you just came
Yeah,
in.
but now Fisk has him. Like he'll do anything for him.
He's gonna just keep giving him ketamine.
Yeah. You're the best sausage maker we have.
Yeah. On Nintendo, thank you for sending in a super chat. We're about to wrap up, but the last one here I want to hit from E Gomez, and no matter what the reaction is, Brandon, please take us to the intro. E Gomez says, chat sides with Brandon on We Built This.
Yeah, of course you guys do. Of
That's
course you
right.
guys
It's
do.
wrong.
The chat is
Chat's
wrong.
always right.
The chat is wrong.
Hey, thanks for joining us today, especially you, chat, because you're always right. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube and give us a follow on Twitch where we do videos like this live. You can follow Breakroom NR on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and X. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye.